Hola, animigos, and welcome to Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding livestream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw.
And I'm your host, David Khourshid.
Together we are coding compadres, animation amigos, Boolean buddies, and keyframe companions.
Yeah, so we're back to creating animations today from scratch live using HTML, CSS, and probably no JavaScript.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think we can get away with this one. So, yeah, we're looking at this NFT.medium animation by Outcrowd on Dribbble. We've got the link down below for that. And we're mostly focused on this your results bit, not really anything else about it that we want to recreate right now. But the way these images come in and expand these kind of expanding columns in a grid. So it's around 4 seconds really nice there.
And just immediately looking at this, you could sort of imagine that this illusion can be created using clip path and transforms. And just a combination of those two just creates this magical effect. Hopefully, we'll see if it works out.
Yes. Yeah, there's certainly some little things we'll have to work through with that, but I think clip path and transform should get us there.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, just the barest minimum of setup here. I've got a few images dropped in. I'll add a couple more, and this just kind of columns container. And that's basically it right now. So we're probably, do we need to wrap the images in anything, do you think?
You know what? I don't think so. And that's partially because we're using clip path. If we find that for whatever reason clip path doesn't work, I've had some nightmares many years ago using clip path and transform at the same time.
Yeah.
Had some really weird glitches, but I'm pretty sure those are fixed now. So I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about that as well. And performance isn't as much of an issue anymore with clip path either.
Right.
Still not the best to animate, but not too bad. Right. So columns. Let's see.
Yeah. So I'm just going to cut these in half just to see what polygon we want for our clip path. And again, the way to remember clip path is it's like you're putting points, like you're manually drawing that clip path, and that's one way to do it. You could use pixels or percentages. I like using percentages just because it's more flexible. The dimensions can change. And I always start at the top left. You could start wherever you want, but I like starting at the top left, which is 0%, 0%. And then to go halfway, you imagine you're drawing a point, just between the left and right side. So that would be 50%, 0%. And then you're going down. So that's 50%, 100%. And then you're back to 0%, 100%. And you don't really need to close it out. It's going to close that path for you. But yeah, in case you need a refresher on clip path, that's the basics of it. And polygon is really, really versatile. There's other clip paths that you could use, but polygon works pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the easier to remember syntaxes. So right now you have them all kind of cut in half. Looking at the animation, yeah, it does look like they start kind of from the left. They're cut in from the left, and it expands out to the right of the image. I initially thought it was centered, but it looks like that is correct. So that's cool.
Just left to right. And so you could also see that, and here's where it might actually get tricky. When they're cut, they're close together. But when they expand, they're, they still maintain pretty much the same gap, but they change their layouts, they change their position. And I don't want to go JavaScript here, so I'm trying to think of a good way to represent that without doing things like animating margin or left or something like that.
Yeah, well, if we're just cutting them in half, then translating it by 50%, translate x by 50%, should work.
It should, but you're still going to have that gap because if everything is translated, then to make it closer, then it's like nothing's translated because you're shifting them all at the same
True.
time.
Yes. Let's see. Well, one thing that can be done is laying them out. So like in the columns container here, laying them out with display grid and doing small grid columns that they're overflowing, and then translating them when they expand, so that they don't take up they overlap at first and then expand. The alternative to that is yeah, using margin, or translating kind of based on their index.
Actually, I'm thinking I have a really clever solution here. Maybe I don't know if it's going to work yet, but we'll see. So imagine this, if you will. We have each of the images. Each of them are cut in half, and I'm guessing that our transform origin, just to make this explicit, we're going to put this, left top or something like that. All right, now we are going to scale it up. So transform scale, bear with me, 2.
Well,
right, so now they're closer together. And then yeah, hold on, let's take this off just to see that I'm on the right path. I feel like I'm on the right path. 1.5 looks great. So maybe let's do 1.7 to bring them a little closer together. Okay, so now this columns thing, what if we transform scale the inverse of that? So calc 1 divided by 1.7, since I don't feel like doing math. Okay, so now if we hover this, then we undo this transform. So I'm just going to do transform none, and our image will also transform none. And we could also remove the clipping there too. So if you hover over that, you could see that they come close, they go apart. I'm actually really shocked that that works, but there you go.
Yeah, we'll have to iron out a few things with the
math.
Yeah. Well, with the hovering as well. But I guess if we're doing it automatic, then it's fine. If we do height 100 VH for now, we can do align items center.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
And
then let's do our scale as like 0.7. And then we can automate that a little bit. Scale. Same with the, perfect. That way we can adjust that number as we need.
Transition. Okay. It looks a little weird oh yeah, that's because we're not really transitioning the other stuff too. So I'm just going to be lazy and transition everything. See what happens. That is neat.
Yep.
So
yeah, the clip. Well, yeah. So right now I'm doing clip path none, but what we actually want to do is clip that to another polygon. First off, let's move all this stuff up into this declaration. It's a little more manageable. Close that out there. So yeah, we've got our clip path. So right, 100%. So starting in the top left corner, going to the top right corner, bottom right, top left. So now, yep, it expands as you go over.
Cool.
It's pretty awesome.
So I think I need to adjust the transform origin. Let me see if left center is better. Left center is way better.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So yeah, I'm shocked that works.
Yeah.
But let's have a little gap here. So
and this,
gap.
we can say translate x like negative 5% or something like that. There's probably a better way to calculate that, but that way they kind of start over to the left. Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah, really cool. Imran, Ramin, hello in the chat. GGAVAM is giving us a thumbs up, so
nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for your approval. Yeah. I'm gonna adjust some of these photos so they're a little bit different size, so we can see like some staggering of those.
Yeah, that would be good, and it really highlights like just this technique, you know. And also we have the entrance where, all right, so what I'm thinking is yeah, basically when we click columns, it should, well, all right, so the images come in and they come in from the top. That's just an animation. Then yeah, we want them to expand. So yeah, could do that.
Yeah. Okay, so
let's
there's
see.
Percentage height to it, so that's good. Yeah, that aspect ratios on them are a little different. Good. That goes. Okay, cool. Transform.
All right, adding some more CSS variables seems to work fine. And then
still
animation. What would you call an animation? Man, it's been a while since I did this. That comes from the top down, like shift down or enter top or enter.
Yeah, slide down or enter top.
Slide down.
Yeah.
Yeah, brings me back to my jQuery days. Yeah. So keyframe slide down. Now, one of the reasons that you would use a CSS variable for transforms is so that if you do have special transforms like we do in this case, but you still want to do other animations, you could just tag on those transforms to your keyframes. So we could say like from transform, and now I want to translate y like negative 100%, but I also want to maintain the previous transform. So I could just do var image transform, and so now everything's preserved.
Nice. See, yep, they're sliding in. I can make that a little longer and maybe do ease out just to see. Yeah, and we probably want something more like 50 viewport height for the translate Y so that they come in from off screen. Yeah. And we need to add some staggering for sure. So I'll start that.
Yes. Although, yeah, hovering right now seems a bit jumpy. That's what
yeah, something changed there.
All right, let's see. So from transform line, and all right, so maybe instead of the hover, do you want to just do this in one animation sequence instead of hovering? I think that's going to be best.
Yeah, I mean that's what it seems like is happening.
Okay. So transform, and then to transform none. And so now this is going to be like 2 seconds. Okay, so that's for the image, and now we have to man, do you know what CSS feature I really wish existed?
What's that?
Like just, and I think you proposed this, but instead of keyframes for a specific selector, like timelines,
Yes.
so that you could orchestrate animations with multiple selectors. That would be so cool.
Hold on. Chrome is dying on me. Gotta restart it there. That's always fun.
Boy.
There we go. All right. All right, so just added a I variable to each of these. Let's see. So
I'm going to add a duration, just 2 seconds, so that we have that over there, and then we could basically copy paste our keyframes over here. So we have keyframes. We'll just call this container. And so the transform starts at the inverse scale. Yeah. Okay, so we'll just move that there. Oh, staggering. Nice.
Yeah, just a little ease there. None. Did you do an animation on the container, or you just made the keyframes?
I just made the keyframes, okay. Which is why it might be looking like that right now. But we have, yeah. I almost used a Sass variable. Sorry about that. All right, so something's a little weird.
Yeah. So I'm adding replay. If you click in the...
Oh, we're not clip pathing.
Oh yeah, that's
that'd be why. Okay, so we have this yeah, to lip path. It's not what we want. We want clip path, and yeah, we want that to be our 100.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So well, we need the clip path in the animation to establish it. Yeah, there. So did we remove our transform origins or anything? Because it feels like a weird jump in the container.
I don't know. I mean, that feels smooth to me.
Well, it's smooth, but like the way that they're let's see, translate. So so we want this to be like from 50%, from 50%. Yeah. There we go. Now they slide in and then expand. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we can probably do like a opacity 0 so they fade in nicely. Opacity 1. Yeah, that's lovely.
Let's change this to 0.51 because I'm gonna try something. So yeah, once you have the main animation down, now the little things bother you. Like you see how it's sort of zooming in or scaling up and then down.
Yeah.
At the end, it's sort of like that hump, like it's hitting a speed bump. So I'm trying to see if we could do anything in the maybe if we match the cubic base here. I think we have to do some crazy math to invert it, which I don't want to do right now, but let's at least match a cubic Bezier and see. All right, so that feels better. Feels like a whip, right?
Yeah.
So feels nice.
We can start that a little bit earlier. Yeah, so since there's staggering of like the images themselves, like they're gonna be a little bit off compared to the zooming of the container. So there's gonna be that kind of expanding effect happening overall. But that's That's all right. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Kind of like it.
What if we do 55%? Like just keep it small, shorter. I don't know if that helps. Or actually, no, this is probably going to worsen the problem, right?
Yeah.
Whoa. That's actually pretty fun.
Yeah, it's
Not
kind of
gonna lie.
a card, like a card flipping effect, you know, like when
Yeah.
magicians lay the cards out on the table and flip them over.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. That's a really cool effect.
Yeah, I like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So looking back at the animation, seeing if there's anything we missed. I think it's a little bit snappier in the animation where it just like it comes and then it just snaps open. So
Yeah.
but I don't know, I sort of like this better.
Let's see.
And so we could even easily tweak that by saying instead of 50, you say like 50 to 70%, and then the tail end is going to be quicker.
Yeah.
And then you could do the same, over here from, well, that just becomes from 75%.
Right.
Yeah, and then there you go. Like that. You still get that bumpiness, but it's fun. It's an artistic artistic decision. So yeah.
Let's see. Just going back over to see how it's all working here. That.
Oh, you know what's interesting?
What's that?
And yeah, we don't have to do this, but some of the images are sliding to the left and some of them are sliding to the right. Oh yeah, I think we have sort of a sliding door thing going on there.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, with the like text in the middle there, and the way that they expand. That's definitely a interesting little challenge. Let's see. That's the a little bit more here. Just get a little more of a gap. And I'm wondering with the way that we're staggering them, maybe instead of scaling the container, we could wrap the images and scale the wrapper instead. Would that help with the way that they like expand?
That might. Yeah, if you want to wrap each image, then yeah, do that. Let me just see if I could do that real quick.
Yeah, make sure the index is on that parent there.
Right style. And then
nice.
Cool. There we go.
Yep, that should work. All right, so yeah, we'll apply this to the div transform. Let's just see how all that works. And then, yeah.
Yeah, just do that.
Huh, interesting.
Honestly, it might also be where the transform origins are, so they might have to be in the same spot. Yeah, so if we here, like just trying that out. Yeah, see that feels a bit better, right? Or maybe it's something you did. I'm not sure.
Well, I've got the same animation delay on them now, so that's helpful. But we're not getting around the gap problem at the moment. Let's see. Scale, same stuff. Strain. Put that in. Let's see. Oh, do we want do we want to make the images bigger than the container?
It's up to you.
Width 2% for these. Then for these translate. That's still going to leave our gaps though. Yeah, because part of the reason we scaled the whole container was to avoid the gaps between them.
Right. Yeah.
So what we can do is Ri times 50%. That doesn't work because of the difference in sizes, and that's where the complications start.
Yeah.
And the expanding is still a little strange. Okay, because we've got 50%.
Yeah, we might need to go back a little bit on this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a cool idea.
Yeah. All right. So let's do picks. We'll remove the div. Okay, let's see. Mostly there, mostly there. Target the divs themselves.
Ooh, big.
Yeah. Go.
Another tiny.
Yeah. Changed here.
They're responsive at least.
Yeah, I kept the wrapper, and now we're animating the wrapper, so the image itself should be sized a little bit better. But I think that's now. Oh, you've got the translate X on there. I don't think we need that anymore. Leave the wrappers on for now.
Okay.
Hold
okay.
on. Image transform. What is the image transform? That's just the scale, scaling from left. Center, container, X.
Yeah, I was just trying to. Oh, that feels nice.
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
Yeah, I dig that.
Do as well.
Of course, we could bump this up just to maybe lessen the gap. 2. Just playing around with numbers now. There we go.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Translate X. Yeah, if we're doing in scale 2, I'm sure there's some calculations there on that. Yeah, so we still have the like delay kind of staggering. Let's see. Oh, no, hold on. Move this down to the div itself, so they're still staggered. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
That's what was missing.
Cool.
Maybe for this, we start that a little bit sooner. Or should it be a little bit later?
I mean, if we, well,
yeah, I'm just playing with the values to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that feels a little bit better, having the image start to expand a little sooner than the containers starting to scale up. Or scale up. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
I'm digging that.
It was good.
You know,
it's not exactly the same as the original animation, but that's okay.
Yeah, and inspired by always our approach. Yeah, it's just nice getting clip path animating nicely and having these expansions. There's definitely a lot you can play with, like if you were doing this in a scenario where you want, you know, things to overlap and like actually changing the size of things. That's always the difficulty with clip path, is you're not actually changing the size of anything. It's only you know, the perceived portion of it, like clipping in a window of that element.
Right.
It's pretty cool. I'm gonna take off one of these images so they're a little bit bigger. Let's see. Do you like the fish or the flowers better?
Let's go with flowers. We see enough fish here in Florida. Actually, flowers too, but
those fish. We'll get some bigger slices here. Yeah, that's a nice little approach. I like it. All right. Anything else to do on this one? You wanna?
I think that's good.
Make it short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything to kind of cover here? Just kind of talk through the clip path negative transforms.
Yeah, the negative transform illusion for sure. That's an important one.
Yeah.
That's the second word. Yeah, that sort of shows like what's really happening.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Okay, so yeah, we'll talk through that. So if you're watching live, stick with us. We're gonna kind of summarize what we did. You know, sometimes it's hard to follow along with everything that goes on and all that we're doing. So we're gonna kind of do some summaries here. So stick with us. I'm gonna kind of do a little marker for us and then an intro, and then we'll get into it. All right, so here we go. Hola, animigos, and welcome to Keyframers. I'm Stephen Shaw.
And I'm David Khourshid.
Let's take a quick look at a technique from this expanding columns animation that we just did. So it's kind of an interesting challenge. We've got these little slices of an image sliding in, and then we want them to expand, and you know, like dealing with layout and all these kinds of things. There's 1,000 different ways we could approach this, but what we chose to do was working with clip path and kind of inverted or negative transforms to kind of give the illusion of that that gap being closed and expanding. So I'll cover the DOM really quick, and then you can walk us through the clip path and transform stuff.
Yeah,
So
sure
we've
thing.
got a columns container, and then inside of that we've got a div wrapping each of these images, and each of those divs has a CSS variable, the I value, just for the index, so that we can do a little bit of staggering. You see that mainly on the intro there, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Flexbox layout for all those little guys. Yeah, and then what are these CSS variables doing here, David?
All right, so they're doing the important work of presenting an illusion that these are closer to each other than they are. And so the way that this illusion works is that we're sort of doing inverse transforms. So we're scaling things up. So if you imagine that each of these elements were scaled up to, let's say twice their size, then they're actually going to overlap, because they're really big now. And so that overlapping sort of gave me a clue that, we could actually reduce the gap between these clipped elements by just scaling them up. But then we have a problem. We have really big images on the screen. Why? Because we scaled them up. So even though they're overlapping, which is good because they're closer together, we don't want to, have them be huge. So what we do is we scale down the container by the inverse of what we scaled it to. So if we scaled up the images by 2, then we do 1 divided by that scale CSS variable, so it's half. And so that way, the images actually look the exact same size. And so that's the illusion that gives. And so all we have to do is animate to the normal values. So changing the clip path so that it's just showing the entire element, and also scaling it back to 1, which is its normal size. And so if you put everything together, you have something that's both scaling in and scaling out at the same time, and then coming to 0. So sort of like the dolly effect, if you've seen, or that zoom effect in those horror movies, right?
Yeah, moving the camera closer or further away, as you're actually moving away to or closer to the object, and it changes like the depth of field as you're doing that.
Now, we're not exactly going this far over here, but the same sort of illusion is taking place. And again, the goal of the illusion is to keep the images looking like they're at the same size. Now, if you don't want to do that, you could instead use JavaScript to calculate the bounds, and it gets a bit tricky with clip path, and we didn't want to go all that way. So this solution requires no JavaScript at all, and it's a nice, quick, and easy way to achieve the same effect.
Yeah, and part of the issue is they're all different sizes. Like, we intentionally wanted them to be different sizes to give kind of the staggering kind of look from the original animation, and so you can't just like bake in a value for like the offset based on like a percentage, because that's just not going to work. So by doing this, we give that illusion at the same time without having to have those values populated. But yeah, if you were calculating it out in JavaScript, you can calculate the width and set some values, and then use the transform translate to actually get everything positioned the way you want, and then and then you're animating all of that without actually having to change the layout. But if you weren't concerned about performance or anything, just animating the width is also an option.
You could do that. We won't judge. It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a nice approach, relatively straightforward, with really just animating the parent element and then the direct children within it, and just kind of inverting that transform. We've got the translate x 50% here to just kind of keep everything centered. We could base that off of the scale that we were doing to make that even more calculated. But for now, just having that value exactly in there is good. Yeah. Anything else?
Nope, not for me.
There was a question in the chat while we were doing the summary from Bence asking would it be possible to stagger only the slide in part of the animation? And yeah, if we split out kind of the intro part of the animation where we have it coming in from the viewport or from -50 viewport height and opacity 0, if we split that part out and only did the animation delay on that portion, and then did the expansion kind of transform effect as a animation after that with enough animation delay to compensate for the staggered effect, then that would totally work.
Yeah, it is tricky. And in the past, like the solution just ends up being you have to create lots of keyframes, for each element, just because they are going to be slightly different. Like their midpoint is going to be slightly off depending on what their first delay is. And yeah, it's animation controls that I wish CSS had, but
Well,
it doesn't.
what I'm talking about is actually splitting the animation completely, so that like the intro slide in portion is one animation, and then
Well,
and then
yeah,
separate.
but the problem is that if you're trying to do the same thing for both animations, then it's not gonna, like, if you're trying to transform in one and also transform in the other, those are gonna conflict, I think.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think we could pull it off. Do you have just like 5 minutes to try?
Sure, go for
Okay.
it.
All right. So what we're talking about here is trying to split these, split the intro animation from the like expanding animation. So we've got animation name. So we've got slide down and then expand is what we'll do. And so we've got animation delay here. And what we'll do, animation duration, we'll do calc bar duration divided by 2. So that both of these animations will be a little faster. And then we'll do the same thing for animation delay here. We'll delay the second animation from there. So let's do this as like 90%, 100% for the slide down. And then we'll do at keyframes expand be just like this. And that's getting there. Yeah, half duration. Thanks, David. Let's see. I think the issue is, okay, so we've got that delayed here. So if we do that as halfway through.
Actually does feel nice.
Yeah, that's a little bit closer to what we wanted. I think we might need to adjust some of the values a little bit here. Delay. Do this a little bit quicker, maybe. Might want to add a from here to just make sure that that isn't animating sooner than it needs to. And just be explicit. Sometimes when you're animating the same, yeah, see, that's tricky. When you're animating the same property, that can cause trouble. For like when you're doing the fill mode. So animation fill mode, do backwards, forwards, that. Sometimes that helps. Yeah. Oh.
Sorry.
Okay. Thought that was me. Okay, awesome. So yeah, I mean that's pretty close. Where it's separating the expansion from the sliding in. There's different tweaking you'd need to do to get that exactly right. But overall, that feels pretty close. Pretty close. So yeah,
Looks great.
awesome. So yeah, there we go.
Mhm.
But yeah, you want to close this out here, David?
Sure thing. So you can watch the full process of creating this animation from scratch live. You can watch the full process of creating this animation for a deeper dive into each technique on the full live stream links right below. Leave us a comment if you have any questions.
That's right. Our show is supported by our sponsors, CodePen at codepin.io, CSS Tricks at css-tricks.com, Stately at stately.ai, and viewers like you. You can pledge at patreon.com/keyframers and subscribe to our channel for more great content. We've got all those links available below. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, adios, amigos.
Adios.